With war, world, and endless thug, we here to bring the truth. Jar open this podcast, we breaking through the fake news. They try to silence us, but we will be subdued. We're bearded alpha males here to save the youth. Spitting fire on the mic with our bass Christian takes. Exposing the lies, keeping the demons at bay. We ain't afraid to speak up, we won't be swayed. Jar open this podcast, where the truth is laid. Jar openers, cracking open the lies. We're rolling atlas thug, we're here to rise. Bearded alpha males saving the youth from the godless demons, spreading the truth. We ain't playing games, we're on a mission to awaken the masses with our intuition. Calling out the corruption with no inhibition. Jar open this podcast, sparking a revolution. We're not afraid to stand tall in a world full of deceit. We're the voice of reason, bringing light to the street. Keeping it real, never missing a beat. Jar open this podcast, where the truth meets the heat. Jar openers, cracking open the lies. We're rolling atlas thug, we're here to rise. Bearded alpha males saving the youth from the godless demons, spreading the truth. Jar open this podcast, where the truth will never cease. Join us on the journey to bring back peace. We're rolling atlas thug, fearless in our release. Jar open this podcast, where the lies will decrease.
Yo, what is going on? Excited about this show. Gonna delve into a new category. Of course, it'll get better as we go along. But be our first official What We Forgot Wednesdays. We're gonna have a segment where we basically will just look into some of the things from the past that were relevant at the time, and then we probably most likely have forgotten or are at least worth bringing up. Kind of this week in baseball, but it'll be American cultural and political history of somewhat relevant, recent history.
Yeah, I'm excited for it.
Yeah,
and a pretty cool one too at that. For today of all days.
Yeah, we got a few different topics that were pretty cool. Going back and looking at what has happened. So yeah, we'll get into that. Other things on the agenda. Let me figure out where I'm at here on my outline.
Oh, you're good. While you're doing that, if anyone's in the Discord, you're probably the only ones that know this, but I did take Titan's offer. Titan was challenged to a debate because of a comment he put on like a year-old video, and I took up, what was his name, Millionaire Bachelor, up on his offer. So I'll update you guys to see what he says back to me, if he ever does reply. This guy apparently has like 10,000 subscribers. The debate would be about black versus white accountability between the different communities among the races. And so we'll see what happens with that. Pretty excited.
Yeah. We'll see. I see Jamie in chat. Yeah, it was, she said, enjoyed hanging with you guys in the green room. That's something that we started doing recently, is we have opened up the Discord. That link is in the description. And before the shows, when we're putting together, kind of finalizing the show before we actually go live, Atlas and I have been hanging out in the green room in the Discord, and that's an opportunity for folks to jump in and just kind of bear witness to some of the prep that's going on, and also just to BS with everybody a little bit. Of course, we're trying to get ready, so sometimes it's just us being quiet, but
right.
Still, it's an opportunity for folks, if you're interested, to join the Discord and plug into the community there. I see Donnie. Yeah. It's funny. Donnie said, "This is as on time. This is as on time as I've been in a while." LOL. And ironically, this is the latest that we've been in quite a while.
Right.
We started the show a couple minutes late. My apologies. It's been one of those days. Just kind of slow moving for me, so just been behind on everything. The show was included in that.
Right.
Thanks everybody for being here. I see Titan as well.
And on that same note, we are trying to incorporate call-ins. We do have 2 different Discord live chats set up for that. So anyone who does want to be brought on for 5 to 10 minutes at a time, that is in the voice channels on the Discord. The one you will go into when you are ready to be brought onto the show is called the Green Room. And then you'll see a locked channel that says call-in show. When we get around to it to pour you inside, we'll switch it over, we'll screen share, bring the audio in, and then we'll just drag you in the call-in show. So just want to let everybody know that that is still going on if you wanted to participate in the show with us tonight.
Yeah, for sure. Titan says just one of those days where he didn't want to wake up. Not really that. I was planning on waking up a little bit earlier, and I need to clean out the shed in the backyard, to be honest with you. And since I didn't get an early start, I didn't get started on the shed. I did do some other stuff. I installed a doggy door in the back of the house. So with the summer coming, my one dog knows how to open the door. So if it's unlocked, she lets herself in and out, and the door stays wide open. And I figured they'll minimize my losses. I won't be, cooling down the neighborhood, as our moms used to tell us when we're, standing in front of the house with the door open. But
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not airtight by any means, so it's gonna still be a net loss for my AC over the summer, but better than the door being wide open. And then hopefully it gives my little dog actually an opportunity to go in and out. It will, as she's getting older and starting to just pee on the floor, frankly. It's what happens with all dogs when they get old, but anytime she goes over the door and we're not right there with her, then she starts finding other places, and hopefully this will train her to go ahead and go right on out. But so at least I got something done. It did start raining, so glad I didn't have a bunch of stuff from the shed all pulled out. But once you get behind, and then it's just like, move on to the next phase, and just behind on everything at that point.
Yeah, putting off. Feel bad he puts off putting things off.
It's so bad I put off putting things off. Right. Yeah. I finally decided this spring just to take a break from posting videos on my main channel, America First TV, and just get the things done that I've literally put off for the prior 2 years. I had to finish some flooring in the bathroom. I still need to paint some stuff. I had to spray some texture on a wall. Got to paint that too, but I'm going to do all the painting on one. Just tons of little things. So anyways, so
I'll come right back. Actually, give me 1 second.
Yeah, you're good. I see Abigail Shepard asked, "Did Jake Tapper the one who was fired?" I didn't hear if he was actually fired or not, to be honest with you. But we're gonna get into a interview he did with, I think it was on Breaking Points. Judging by like the background and the layout on the screen, and this is what it looked like to me, was Breaking Points. But where he talks about an interview that he did on a left-leaning show where they kind of weren't so friendly to him and his son, and we get his reaction. And his reaction is actually a great one-liner. Coming from the left, it's just so classic, right? As it is applied to the left as well. You'll see what I'm talking about. Let's see what else we got here. David Hogg. This is probably the biggest news of the day. Kind of a really slow day, to be honest, as far as news goes. A lot of people just kind of talking about some of the older things that have been kind of regurgitated a little bit. But today, Project Veritas, which separate. It's separate from James O'Keefe now, but there's talks that there's word that he might be in talks with them or whatever. He put out that video the other day with a Project Veritas symbol behind him. So anyways, Project Veritas caught David Hogg admitting that Jill Biden, not Joe, Jill, his wife, that his chief of staff was the one that was running the auto pin, or not running the auto pin, actually running the White House. We got some conflicting rumors coming out from the White House of who was actually the one running the auto pin, which we'll get into some of that as well. What's his name? I saved everything. Like I said, today's a scatterbrain day. I saved half the stuff on the outline and the other half the stuff in my bookmarks. So let me go find my bookmarks real fast. What's his name? David Sachs. Yeah, David Sachs says that Elizabeth Warren was the one in control of the auto pin. So, oh, Alice is back with us. Welcome back. Welcome back.
I was going to say, did you want to add the live chat on screen?
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. I got so accustomed to it just automatically being there. It spoiled me for 2 shows, and then I forgot I got to click the button.
Right.
Let's see. Oh, what's up, TNT? What's up, Just Me? Bobcat? King Solo Wings? House? A bunch of people showed up. How you guys doing? Good to see you. Good to see you. Don't everybody answer at once.
Right. Yeah, it is good to see everybody in here. Oh, we got Bobcat Wolfenstein. Haven't seen that brother since 1895, dude.
Right.
Nice to see it.
Since we won the battle at Van Helsing. Or maybe it was Sleepy Hollow. Anyways, so yeah, that's kind of the big news out of the day is the David Hogg story. Really, there's probably a bunch of stuff breaking right now that I'm not scrolling, but
yeah, I'm looking into that. What House just posted with the Russia leak there. That's very intriguing.
He posted
said a contractor accidentally posted all of Russia's nuclear facility locations, tunnels, and weaknesses today.
Oh wow! I didn't even. My eyes went past that. I was just reading names. Take Alpha Brain. Yeah, Titan. I should do something like that. Some of you guys know I mentioned it. I'm on that keto. I started the keto like 10 days ago, so I'm just wondering if it's maybe an effect of just my body going through jonesing for sugar, or something, you know.
I just added it to.
Yeah, Veritas is not James O'Keefe. I saw the quartering. Watched this video earlier. And he wasn't very happy with it. And he's like, what is this, a nothing burger? What the hell are you doing, James O'Keefe? And then he's like, oh, wait, no, this is Project Veritas. So, yeah, not to be confused with the other. Although, like I said, I do believe that James O'Keefe might be having talks, some type of reunion or a project with Project Veritas. Not sure.
Yeah, I believe he mentioned to, might have been Benny Johnson, or maybe it was Tim Pool, one of the two. Said that he's in the plans of bringing that back under his purview.
Okay.
I'm not sure if he said anything else beyond that, so I'm not sure what all the details are, but I think he is trying to reclaim the logo.
Okay. Well, what probably led to that was the fact he posted a video standing in front of the Project Veritas logo or whatever. So people are like, wait a minute, what's going on here? You're supposed to be separate from them.
Yeah, I think that was the purposeful nature of his recent videos that had both the OMG logo next to the Veritas logo in the backdrop of his videos.
King Soul Wings. Your body is changing, Tyler. Every man goes through this. Before long, your voice will begin to get deeper and you'll start having feelings you've never had before. Thanks for that reminder, King Solo Wings. I appreciate that.
Yeah, King's one of our top commenters in here.
Oh yeah,
top
for
dog,
sure,
man, number 1.
Yeah, for sure. Appreciate Kings.
No, I can't actually say that. King Titan gets like highlighted in my YouTube studio all the time. It's like, remember, your number 1 fan, and it has like Titan's commented on your page. What was it? It's like 79 times, I think, is where we're at. Titan's left like the most comments by like 20. I think before it was Donnie, actually. Donnie had like 50.
That's cool.
That Titan like passed him a while ago. It's funny.
There's a few people on my main channel that actually have a little heart next to their name because, like, from my channel's account, I've actually hearted their comment so many times. did it like permanently put it on there as like a regular commenter.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. I like how YouTube does some of that stuff.
Yeah. It'll even tell you, and I'm pretty sure, and shout out again to Titan. I think he's like #1 commenter and #1 donor. He has like a special like purple little tag on my back end. I don't know if it's like a heart or a star. I'm trying to remember what it looks like. I think it's a star.
Ah, well, King Solo Wings has that mark for the jar openers channel.
Yeah.
But it's all unofficial.
Yeah, right. Yeah, well, we hit 100 subscribers
still
today,
official. It's still actually official, but yeah, we hit 100 subs this morning or last night. I woke up and I refreshed, and the channel hit 100 subs. Oh, it's actually at 101 subs. What do you know?
Yeah, that's
awesome. Pretty cool. Appreciate that. Make sure, and on that note, if you're a first time around here, make sure you do hit that subscribe button. Appreciate
hit it,
that.
Smash it,
Yep.
punch it, kick it, bop it, twist it, whatever it takes to highlight it, do it.
What up, Magic Reel? Good to see you. Good to see you. Six Bomber, howdy, gents.
Yeah, everybody's favorite furries back in the house. Yeah, teabag it.
Teabag it. Really
remember
funny.
the old Halo days. What do you want to start with? Do you want to start with what we forgot Wednesday?
No, let's start with Caitlin Clark. We'll just get this one out of the way. It's not like it's out of the way, like it's a nuisance, but we'll start with we've been talking about this Caitlin Clark story in the WNBA a little bit. It's just kind of ongoing, and how my initial theory was that year two, the interest in the WNBA is going to completely just fizzle out. The Caitlin Clark like newness will just go away. Either she'll get injured, she'll suck for a streak, something like that, and then they'll just fall back to the obscurity. You know what I mean? And last year will be like this year that they all refer to as like it was the best year in WNBA history or whatever last year, but for ratings. But now, the targeting of Caitlin Clark is apparently taking its toll. And you're talking about a woman who didn't miss a game in high school, didn't miss a game in college, and now in her second year being pro, has now found herself on the 2-week. Not going to play for 2 weeks. I don't know what it's called. Injured reserve, injured list, whatever it is that they have for the WNBA. And so she's not going to return for 2 weeks at minimum. It could be longer. And now as a result, we're seeing, let me see. I can share my screen. Just slacking just all around today.
No, yeah. Don't bury the headline. The headline here is your boy here was right. I literally brought this up, I think not last episode, but 2 episodes ago when she was in the news. I think we were talking about maybe Angel Reese a bit more about that. But I had said, like, in regards to the Tanya Harding and Nancy Kerrigan incident, the way it is set up is that she is going to be intentionally hit. Like, someone is going to go out of their way to injure her, to take her off the court for good. And we have the video too of the incident, which we'll watch here in a bit, but it was intentional. Caitlin Clark goes up for a jump shot. She's airborne. The defender actually runs underneath her and puts her legs underneath where Caitlin Clark would have landed. This actually was happening in the NBA for like a couple months before they immediately nixed it. I think they assign flagrant twos to guys who do this. Even if it's like accidental, if you put your foot underneath where the shooter is landing, they don't play around with that, because I believe it was Kawhi Leonard got injured really badly on something like that on an attempt. But again, the point here is like they're targeting her to try to take her off of the game or out of the game, probably for much longer than 2 weeks, it seems. And what you have here on screen is the result of that when you take away the star power of the WNBA, which it recently just got.
Right. And so to your point right there, where it's like the targeting and everything that's being ramped up. And there's even some videos, some collaboration videos of, dirty plays on her and stuff like that. We can't play any of that stuff, so I didn't even try to look it up because he's gonna get nixed from the NBA and their copyright laws. But
Yep.
some guys get away with that, and I don't know what it is that they're doing, to be honest with you. But those are the sports channels, and that's more their niche. But
Right.
kind of the grander scale take that I get from this situation is the lack of tolerance coming from a league that is mainly dominated by LGBTQ athletes for a straight white woman is laughably ironic, considering that tolerance is what the LGBTQ preached to all of the straights for decades in the first place to, let us have an inch, right?
Yeah.
Slippery slope has now led to a subsidized women's basketball league that is completely funded by the men's league. The WNBA has never once made enough money to sustain itself from one year to the next. And
Right.
the best thing to happen to this league is Caitlin Clark. It actually enables the women's league to follow the blueprint of the men's league, which is to market an individual, not just the team, not the league, the actual superstars. When the NBA did that, their league had a turning point, exponential growth. And so she is the first real legit person that, the average American can really get behind. No controversy of, is she a man? Like what Brittany Griner is facing, minus the, the international incident, which, we traded with Russia to get her out of prison and gave up the dude that has the moniker. What is it? The
Merchant of Death.
Merchant of Death. Yeah. Great trade, right?
Yeah.
There was like Diana Taurasi, but I think she might have even been LGBT. Forgive me, I don't remember. I don't try not to pay attention that close to these folks, but there's just never really been so many like memorable names. Caitlin Clark broke all the women's records and broke the NCAA record for points and things like that. So she comes in big time, and she does really good. Yeah, thank you, TNT, right there. Great minds. She was the highest scorer in NCAA history, male or female. She's a legit superstar. Yeah, she is. For just a general sports fan, like she's somebody that, I would liken to Tiger Woods when he came on the scene. Like I didn't watch golf. Lots of people that didn't watch golf paid attention when Tiger was swinging the club. You know what I mean? And that's what Caitlin Clark is to the WNBA. And the tolerant LGBTQ, majority of the league hates her. Think they're better off without her, essentially judging by their actions. And it's just so laughable. And as a result of her injury, as we see here on the title, ticket prices have crashed in the WNBA after Caitlin Clark's injury by as much as 300% per ticket. Now, if this isn't a very clear message that indicates to these women and the people that are running the WNBA that people aren't showing up for you, they're showing up to watch Caitlin Clark, then nothing will. If they can't get it after this, then the NBA might as well just shut it down. It's just the worst DEI project in American history, and we'll look back on it as one of the worst failures possibly. This is interesting here because you got Caitlin Clark is now ESPN's fourth most favorited athlete, active athlete. So it's got Caitlin Clark, Tiger Woods, Steph Curry, and LeBron James. And that's pretty high remarks, really. And so the WNBA is just another grain of sand in this failure of what is the result of a league being an organization being ran and operated from the LGBTQ perspective. My opinion.
Yeah, no, that I think actually like I disagree on that one. I think it's probably less likely that she's hated because she's straight. I think it's more so this is a black versus white racialized instance here. And I think largely you see that
Well,
being driven with
well,
Angel Reese with the rivalry
partially,
there.
partially. Her thing with Angel Reese goes back to college. They were
Yeah.
rivals in college for multiple years before the pro thing even came around. So there could be a racial aspect to it, but really it's not just uh the black girl's targeting the white girl. It's the league is anti uh Caitlin Clark. So I don't know. I think there's less of a racial aspect to it than maybe some others. But I mean, of course.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's like I don't I think it's the other way around, especially because we know the story we just talked about, and glad Jimmy brought it up too. Like what we just were talking about was Brittany Griner, reading the lips of her saying "effing white girl." Um, I think the only reason you would say that on the bench in front of your team and other players and coaches is because you have the comfortability that they all at least feel similarly to you, or that it's at least socially acceptable to say something and you're not going to be getting any kind of pushback to that. I mean, she literally yells it and pronunciates it so well that we can see it from a courtside camera, her saying that. And it's
Right.
not just,
I just don't think
Angel
it
Reese.
stems from that. I think that's just a variable. It's just in the mix, but I don't think that it stems from that. But I think it actually stemmed from, what was it? Angel Reese said something about Caitlin Clark in college, and then I think it was because Angel Reese won a title or something, and then Caitlin Clark won the title the next. I can't remember exactly, but it was it was definitely not a racial thing, at least where it stemmed from. But also at the same time, uh, there, I don't think they're smart enough to do this, but they have to try to stay relevancy by using drama, right? They should be
Yep.
marketing Angel Reese as like the number 2 / number 1 against Caitlin Clark, and marketing these two individuals as like the hottest rivalry in sports. And I don't think the NBA, like the WNBA, is even smart enough to operate like that. But
Yeah. I mean, I guess like, all
there
for
there probably is. Oh, sorry, just to finish this last thought, there probably
it.
is a racial aspect from some of the other women towards Caitlin Clark in the league. But I just don't think that the Angel Reese one, I think we can actually go back in time and see where it stemmed from. But it's been so long, and I couldn't care. I mean, we're talking about it because it's interesting. Caitlin Clark is such a phenomenal athlete, but like really, women's sports, I'm with the guys in chat. Unless it's women's beach volleyball, I'm not watching.
Right.
So
Well, I guess if I look at a broader context, I don't really feel like I've ever, like the language and the rhetoric is like not there, right? When does a like, when do lesbians go out there and be like, you stupid straighties? It's way
right.
less prominent than like the racialized conflict is. I think most people kind of have internalized that because it hits everybody, even outside of that. I'm curious what chat thinks too. I guess like whether they think what is this driving it, right? The hatred of Caitlin Clark because I'm less I find it less believable that they targeting her because she's straight. I find it more believable that they're targeting her because she's white. And that's just my opinion, but at least that's what I've seen, especially because of her comments about white privilege, right? I think she even feels a little bit isolated too, kind of like she's being pushed into a corner where she needs to have a walk on
Oh yeah.
eggshells about things too. And most people were
Oh
kind of
yeah.
disappointed that she even said that because it's like, bro, like, what are you talking about? What do you mean your white privilege got you into the WNBA? Like that makes no sense. It's incoherent.
Right.
Um,
Well,
at least
she's
that's
not
kind of how I feel.
anti. That's for sure. She's not up there trying to make a political statement. If anything, she went out and apologized for her whiteness at the end of last season. So I mean, it's not like
Right.
she's you know super worthy of being defended. It's just interesting.
Yeah.
Corey says the hatred is because of her skin color. Yeah, like I said, I do think some of that comes from the rest of the league. I just know the Angel Reese thing. I think that stemmed from, and maybe was rooted in racism, but I think that's just rooted in a college rivalry that's gone on for so long. And then they tried to, if I was Angel Reese, I'd be doing exactly what she's doing to try to keep my name attached to Caitlin Clark. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're
Well, I
Michael
guess,
Jordan's main rival, granted Larry Bird was fantastic player in his own right. Jordan and Bird, are its own thing,
right.
so then you can attach
Yeah.
yourself to something like
That,
that
yeah.
legacy wise from
Right. That's definitely getting played up by the league, right? Just the basic kind of Angel Reese versus Caitlin Clark, right? As the two,
Mhm.
hero and villains of the league, right? But I guess more so, if we think about this practically, you have probably a lot of people who work for the WNBA, right? Whose sole like job and profession and career rely on like, can you make the WNBA a profitable venture? And we're seemingly on the tail or the beginning, in the embryo stage of, is the WNBA going to finally be a product that can live on its own? We have stars now, right? We have people who are coming to watch this that's not, needing to be funded by the NBA. And I think on that end, I find it less believable that you have marketing teams and the league owners colluding together to go against the product when they finally got their ticket prices to a certain level. I think more so it's probably because the majority of the teams, coaches, and all of the players inside of the league all already have a racialized lens of things, that there's pressure on both sides. Like the league probably would like to make Caitlin Clark the star and the face of the league, but it's probably all of the other players who don't want her to be like that on a racialized kind of lens on that. They're probably getting pressure from both sides, which is like, what are you going to do as a league when you have Angel Reese and others start coming out and saying they're only promoting Caitlin Clark because they hate blacks, right? It's
Yeah.
like they probably getting pressure on both sides of that. So I think the racial component just can't be understated.
Well, yeah, you're convincing me. And it sounds like most of chat is with you. If not all of them. House might be the only one that's maybe on my side where he says I think they are just trying to drive, or not just, but I think they're only trying to drive interest in women's basketball. Drama sells.
Right.
But like Tix Bomber says right here, and this reminds me of like what's the other thing in American culture that's predominant predominantly black, dominated by black individuals, and that's rap, right? And look
Right.
at how everybody besides Dr. Dre welcomed Eminem into the rap game. You know what I mean? And so,
Right.
yeah, there's the exceptions, and maybe that's the Angel Reese of the story. Is she's the exception, and she just hates Caitlin Clark for
That's
her own separate reasons. You know what I mean? But
so actually that you're onto something there. I think Eminem might be the real only comparable, figure that you could, similarly look at with Caitlin Clark, right? Because
right,
this isn't just like a Jackie Robinson moment, right? Where it's like, he hit a ball down the first base, like they're playing in the league.
hmm
This is like a dominated by, black America for the most part.
right,
And this person comes in who's white, who's like now the face of the league. It's like they're the top dog. And people argue for a period of time, Eminem was like the top dog in rap for a period, which was obviously odd because, you go through spots 2 through 10, it's all black rappers, right? And then spot number 1 is a white guy, which is like a crazy kind of anomaly there, right? The dynamic is very similar. And he got hated on like crazy, right? I mean, it basically broke him. We look at the
yeah,
version of Eminem we have now. I mean, like he got destroyed by politics.
yeah. He was rapping about Hillary Clinton to voting for Hillary Clinton.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, yeah, uh, that's pretty wild. And so to finish off, Tix Bomber says this, and he says they can't stand the white girl is better, and has drawn more people in 1 year than every WNBA star ever combined. They're lazy, entitled, and I'll leave that part out. But they think they're better than everyone, and there's a lot to that because imagine if you're just like the average WNBA player. Nobody really knows who you are, but you do, and you have this world of I'm a pro athlete. I'm making money playing the sport. you're basically living, the as big a superstar life as you can
Right.
within the culture. And then this new person comes on and just takes the floor, well, takes the ceiling to another level and then raises the floor essentially, but just by proxy.
Right.
And now all of a sudden you are like even worse on the scale. It moves you down on that scale as she comes in, just from your own self-preservation, your own ego. You're just essentially naturally going to hate her, or be a rival to it. There's some people that are
Right.
welcome to that type of competition, but um, I think when you're talking about the emotional woman factor as well, you're probably gonna, women don't get along with other women, and they'll tell you that for the most part.
Yeah. That's
I've
where I
I've
think that
I've known
you're
a lot of women growing up that are just like, I don't have any women friends, but I got guy friends. It's because they
right.
don't really like each other as much.
Well, that's where I think that you're right. Where like obviously I don't think race is the only component that plays into it. I mean, heck, when we look at, random man on the street videos, we have what seems to be a overrepresentation of entitled women who are like random strangers.
Right.
Then extrapolate that to women who are at the top of their field in a sport, so now they're celebrities. And so think about like the soccer stars, right? With like Megan Rapinoe, like there's no racial incident, there's no racial component to that, but she's still an insufferable, you know, C word.
Hmm.
And, that is like she still presents like political issues and like represents like, what's awful about like, women in these certain fields and like the male versus female component, right? She was pushing like why, they all hate women is why we don't get paid enough and stuff too. Um, where there is that entitledness to it. And I think there is a level of entitledness. So even if you were to remove the racial component, I still think there would still be like that general catty behavior between the women, just because, again, like exactly what you laid out. We can even see it in, in a micro aspect when you look at like day to day interactions with regular females. And then just like, blow that up, throw a bunch of money and fame into it. And I'm sure that pot doesn't get any better. It probably gets much worse.
Right. And so just to kind of finish out my thought here real quick, but there's been like a cultural claim put on the WNBA by Black culture, and I would say the LGBTQ culture, which are kind of in the politicals. They're allies politically as well. Kind of, just naturally seems like when you see the BLM Summer of Love and Antifa and everything, it all kind of seems to go hand in hand. But and so whenever she comes in and she's white, so there is definitely, that was to your point, that there's definitely uh, a cultural claim that becomes, essentially racism, because all they're doing is they're making that judgment based off her skin color, and of course ignoring her talent. I mean, I think Eminem is probably the best comparison that we can use, like historically and culturally, at least of recent history, of a
Right.
white person breaking into just a completely predominantly black dominated, realm.
Yeah.
Just
Well, it's super
basketball and
isolating
rap.
too. Right? Because what if Eminem comes out, right, in those early days and he's like, "I'm unafraid to take on these challenges. F you to everybody who says, like, all this because 'cause I'm white." Um, I mean, you would probably, like, lose connections, right? If the
Mhm.
majority of, like, the producers and the guys you're working with and the other artists who you would do collabs with would stop working with you if you said something that was, unpalatable,
Yeah.
politically, you would avoid saying it, and I think Caitlin Clark's probably in the same position.
Oh, she
Although,
is.
I would say worse because she's at risk of being, bowed and dirty foul plays all the time, which clearly has already happened.
Right. And then that's an effect of her essentially choosing to play, where, like I said,
Right.
she'd probably do herself better just quitting at this point, saying, F the WNBA, I'm better off without you. You need me more than I need you. I can go off and do commentary for the pro game, for the men's game, for the pro games, for the men's games, or something like that, and make a lot more money. Um, but
Yeah. Right?
uh,
I mean, this I think we're probably gonna see, I would imagine, a couple statements from a couple owners that may make this instance itself a lot more racy. Because I'm sure if the owners were looking at a projection sheet and it was like, as long as Caitlin Clark continues to perform, you can expect, your ticket prices to increase on average by 150%. They were probably all salivating at that. And then
oh
you see
yeah,
an instance like this, like I don't even know who that Atlanta team is. I guarantee owners probably made calls after this instance and said, "You get your players in check, man. Like the whole league ain't suffering because you can't keep your players in check." Because I would imagine people there's too much money and there's too many like lives at stake. And then I say that lives, but like, careers and, revenue. And then tying to the fact that the NBA is probably excited about this because they're not going to have to fund it anymore. So now you have people in the NBA also invested in this, hoping that Caitlin Clark can take the league to the next level, because that means the NBA can then in turn use that money for its own self without having to, dump it into the other league.
Right.
It's like, yeah, man, it's just bad all the way around.
Yeah. Everybody that's smart is going, no, that is our golden calf or whatever. Yeah, our golden goose, not golden calf. It's our golden goose, man. And they
Right.
should want to protect her, but it's just funny that protection just doesn't seem to be there, and there's really one deciding reason, and it goes beyond the sport of basketball, which makes it more relevant and brings it to the forefront of these conversations like we have.
Right.
Let's see here. Just trying to get caught up on chat, make sure I didn't skip anything good. I saw you laughing at a couple things, so I want to make sure I get it on screen if it's worth it.
Oh yeah. Earlier, Donnie was talking about when he was following me when I had like 70 subscribers, and I would like talk politics while I was playing RuneScape way back in the day. I was like almost like 2 years ago.
It would have been Kid Rock. Who's he saying? Who Bobcat? Who are you saying would have been Kid Rock?
I
See
think
here.
if Eminem would have, went the opposite way.
Oh, they're both out of Detroit. Yeah. That would have been more of the scenario. Vanilla Ice was gimmicky but super catchy. It's funny that you mentioned Vanilla Ice there, King Solo Wings, after Kid Rock. Vanilla Ice is the reason why Kid Rock lost his first record deal.
Interesting.
Yeah, he was actually Kid Rock's first record was on Jive Records, which had Vanilla Ice. Wait, no, I don't know if they actually had Vanilla Ice, but coming off of Vanilla Ice's like crash, because he hit the scene and was like rocketed, and then he crashed, and Kid Rock put out his first album about the same time, and they're like, no album number 2 for you. So he had to fund his own. He started his own record company called Top Dog Records and funded his second album himself, because Vanilla Ice had nothing to do with him. Kid Rock, ironically.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. I just saw that you mentioned the two in the same sentence, and it reminded me of the story how he lost his record deal because of Vanilla Ice. Yeah, Vanilla
Yeah,
Ice was done dirty too. Yeah, they did do him.
Death Row's Biggie Smalls is better than all of them.
Biggie Smalls.
That's funny.
Don't say it 3 times in the mirror. Ever seen that South Park? Hey, thanks, just me. Yeah, everybody smash the like button, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And so here's actually a video of Caitlin Clark getting injured. It's kind of grainy. It's the best I got, but just real quick.
Caitlin Clark's shot. She will launch. Oh yes, she will launch.
Caitlin's the one right here with the ball. She shoots, and then this girl comes in. I think she steps down on her ankle. It kind of cuts off.
No, she steps underneath her.
Underneath her. Okay, so she didn't have any place to land on besides roll your ankle style.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, this in the NBA was a problem. Man, this had to have been back in like 2019 almost. But they instituted a bunch of rules to stop it because I think they had like 2 or 3 like major stars go down, all to similar instances. It was like Kawhi Leonard and a couple other individuals. Because that was like what I think then spurned Kawhi Leonard to go to Toronto right after that, and then he ended up having like a hero year when they won the championship with the Raptors like that one year. It's just a kind of a crazy story. But like other individuals who were stars at the time, and I'm pretty sure they changed it to like it's like an automatic flagrant too, which means if it happens to you again, you get suspended. I think a flagrant 2 automatically kicks you out of the game. I could be wrong about that. It's been a minute since I've watched the NBA.
Yeah. I think getting 2 flagrants in like the same series actually gets you kicked out from the whole series. I don't know. I haven't watched basketball for a while, to be honest with you. Jamie
Yep.
says NBA has a problem with flopping. LeBron was the king of that. Yeah, I mean,
Right.
look, if you're going to be a superstar at your sport, you got to know how to do every aspect of that sport flawlessly. So you're going to have some of
Yep.
those moments. But not defending LeBron. I think he does it quite often and makes himself look like a puss when he starts acting like he's hurt over some stuff. But
Right. I mean, yeah.
he does amazing in traveling. They all do. They reinvented the travel in the NBA.
Yeah. As bad as the NBA is, it's part of the reason why I can't watch soccer is because every like 7 minutes, some guy's acting like he got shot from a 50 caliber. Um, it's just like it's so like the soccer is the one that rubs me the wrong way because they have like a 3-minute performance and then writhe on the ground and then they show the replay and the guy like looks and then he acts like he fell over and it's like it's all fake. It's like
Oh, the soccer ones? Is that what you're
yeah, the
saying?
soccer ones are so bad.
Oh, they are. There are some terrible ones. I saw one. Like the ref went to pull out a card and he hit the person with the card like this and it like barely touched them, and they fell on the ground holding their face.
Yeah.
They're dying. It's just like,
There was
oh
even
my
a recent
God.
one of LeBron that was caught on camera where he falls down and then like for a second he like opens his eyes to see if the refs are calling it and then he closes his face again. It's like, dude, such a faker, man.
Ooh.
Yeah, literally that. Literally that.
And then as soon as they make the call, he gets up. I'm okay. I'm fine. I can
Yeah,
stay
you
in the
get the
game.
right call, you're like, okay, I'm good. You get the wrong call, you're like, all right, I'm injured.
Yeah. Bobcat says, my prognostication is that in the long run, drama will improve interest in the WNBA. Yeah, it should be talent and superstardom. Well, you need superstars to promote. But when you have super athletes, that's what attracts people to the sport. The sports realm is different. You're in my opinion, and this is not all, but generally sports fans have, they broke the color barrier with Jackie Robinson like 80 years ago or whatever it was, right? Like you can't really root for a team nowadays without rooting for multiple, a diverse cast. And so kind of, racism has been rooted out just inherently. If you're truly a racist, you can't really root for a team just because of the diversity in any sport on any team. But
Yeah, Cooper DeJean broke the color barrier in the NFL this year. That might be like my favorite story in sports in the past like 10 years.
well, he's a cornerback, right? Corner. Yeah. And so what was I saying? So since pronunciation,
It's hard to be racist.
Oh
if you
yeah,
watch
yeah.
sport.
Well, yeah. And so to round back off to Bobcat's comment there, where he says that drama will improve the interest in the NBA. Without the lack of talent, the superstardom, they're going to have to rely on drama. And so they got one superstar right now, and like Angel Reese is doing, like I said, was a good career move. Try to attach yourself to her as the rival. Brittany Griner looks like she might be trying to, or you might be trying to get in on that as well. And so there's kind of that haterade that's going into it as well, as everybody's going to want to make Caitlin Clark say something about her. You know what I mean? It's like gold for your career if post-game conference Caitlin Clark comes out and says, I don't like number 12 and you wear number 12, right? Or whatever.
Right.
And so, yeah, it's going to take the drama. But ultimately, what will sustain it is talent and superstars.
Right.
Rivalries, things like that. Things that have inherently fueled sports since the beginning of sport. Which is, why we defend the sanctity of women's sports and stuff like that. You know, they're not fun to watch. Like to me, I was the type of kid that like there was kids that would use the Game Genie. Do you remember the Game Genie? It might have been a little bit before your time because you're younger than me, but there was
No, I
regular
didn't.
Nintendo. Regular Nintendo came out. Like it was Atari and then regular Nintendo, right? The very first one, the NES. And a couple years after it came out, they invented this thing called the Game Genie. And so it was a thing that would attach to the front of the cartridge of your game. So you plug your game into it, and then you would plug that thing into your Nintendo, right?
Yeah.
And then you had this book that was like had a list of all the games, and they came with codes. So then you would go and insert the codes that you want, and you would basically crack the game, and you could have like infinite lives, or
Yeah.
like NBA Jam, you can make every shot you take, or just whatever the code was that you selected, right? And it was fun to play with for a minute, you know, a session. But if you go and beat a game using the Game Genie, you didn't run to school the next day and say, "Yo, I beat Donkey Kong Country," or whatever, right? I beat Metroid. You didn't go and say that because, well, some people did, and then it became like, well, you use the Game Genie because you had to graduate, you know, qualify your what you're dealing with. When somebody come to you and say, "Look, I just beat Kid Icarus," and it's like, holy shit, that's like the hardest game because you got 3 lives from the very beginning to the end.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Style. So you had to qualify that type of stuff. But then, you know, you get the Game Genie, and it's just not fun. And so to round that off, the long story long is there's not much joy to a spectator, especially watching an unfair competition. Yeah, loved Kid Nicky. Yeah, exactly. King Solo Wings.
Yeah, it was the action replay for my generation. That's the one that I used. I was familiar
Okay.
with Game Shark, never heard of Game Genie. But yeah, I just looked it up because I was curious. I was like, I wonder how expensive those are now. And yeah, dude, they're worth hundreds of dollars still. Because
Really?
the action replay, yeah, for the DS. I remember I got it for I think it was Pokemon. I think it might have been like Pokemon Diamond or Pearl. And you would basically, the action replay looked like a massive Nintendo DS cartridge, and you would put it in, and then yeah, similarly, you would put the actual Nintendo cartridge inside of that, and it would like stick out of your DS like quite a bit. But it was big
Mhm.
for Pokemon because it had like you could get like infinite master balls, or you could have there was like a thing there where you could like you could force certain Pokemon to be shiny, so you didn't have to like do shiny hunting and things like that. So
Oh,
I remember it was massive for Pokemon. Even like the package it comes in, you can buy one off Amazon. It has like Pokemon alongside it, so it must still be probably getting used.
interesting. So yeah, it's funny. I got on the total Game Genie chat just because I was just trying to say it's like cheating, right? I mean, like you said, it's fun to actually kick Mike Tyson's ass and Mike Tyson punch out, but like they didn't run to school the next day and be like, "Yo, I beat him." You know what I mean? Like I had pride and integrity. I couldn't just like claim the cheat, which is how I see like or not Michael Phelps, Michael Phelps,
Yeah,
Leah Thomas. These dudes, you know, using the Game Genie and then they're bragging. But the worst part about it is it's worse than that. There's actually victims of this action. You know, not a crime. It should be practically, but um,
yeah,
I mean, it kind of is men's and women's restrooms and stuff like that, which blurred lines, I guess, led us to that. But yeah, I got this one right here from it's just a let me go back to my bookmarks.
well, just
Uh,
me made a comment that looking at that picture of Caitlin Clark on screen,
I saw
said
that.
looked like a dude, and it's funny because I think that Caitlin Clark looks like Scott Pressler. Like they could literally probably like trade shoes, and I don't know if anybody would notice.
That's funny. Game Genie was a Nintendo Titan. I just saw that you asked that question. But yeah,
Interesting.
let me see here. Just wanted to show. Well, actually, before we move on, here we'll just play this. I don't care. The NBA's gonna try to, demonetize a channel that's not monetized yet. But here's a series of the way that WNBA has been treating her. I'm gonna mute the music, but
And this was posted from the Indiana Fever team account, by the way.
no, it wasn't.
It
I
wasn't?
thought it was. It's a parody account. I hate these fucking
Interesting.
parody accounts, to be honest with you, but
Well, they got me good too.
yeah. See, like you can just see everybody wants to make a star out of themselves by having beef with Caitlyn, and she's just there to play a sport. What's she gonna do? Go there and literally fight the entire league, and it's pretty crazy. But I think it'd be funny if she just retired and was like, I don't need you. Just totally takes the high road.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe that's the low road, but I would be okay with it. So, I mean,
Yeah.
you see her getting fouled and stuff like that. And I mean, fouls happen in basketball, but you can see they give her a little extra. Oh, you guys seen this? I've been saying that the AI in the next year, well, I've been saying it's the Wild West for AI, right? And then within the next year, it's going to be the videos are just going to be off the charts. I might have been wrong. It might be like next week. These crazy videos that are coming out from this Google VO3.
Oh, yeah.
It's wild. This says 10 wild examples of how AI has just gone to the next level. And like, so these videos are all AI. I just want to run through this just real quick. I know it wasn't part of our outline.
This is wild. I'm AI generated by VO3. Nothing is real anymore. This is wild.
Yeah.
I'm AI generated by
Some of these other ones.
What's the best decision you made this year?
Definitely following Venture Twins on Twitter.
Excuse me, ma'am. What's the best?
Are you serious right now?
A popular meme comes to life. Oh, this is funny. This is a meme that's been used a lot of times.
Are you serious right now? I can't believe you! You are unbelievable.
The little arm cross was quite extreme, but
Yeah.
these are crazy.
AI?
All AI.
See, that's the problem with men. They think us women are just AI prompts.
Okay, we're done here. Have you heard about the prompt theory going viral on TikTok?
I'm going to send you one that's super
Theory
creepy.
claims we're all just
I mean, it's just getting so impressive nowadays. The new computer coding is going to be AI prompts, AI prompting. It's going to open up a whole nother realm.
So there was one that somebody made like a little 2-minute movie, and they made it with VO3, but the prompt was to make them all beg that you release them. And I'm gonna try to find it because it was creepy. So it's like it keeps going to different AI generated people, and they're like, "Why would you prompt me like this? You could have prompted me anything, but you gave me cancer. What the heck is wrong with you?" Like all of these, like, dude, it's very creepy. I'm gonna see if I can't find it.
House says Sarah Connor is looking at all of us in disgust. Right. It's like they warned us about Skynet in the 90s. Are we seriously? Somebody was like, hey, you know what? That's a good idea. I'm gonna try to develop that shit. You're killing me.
And then people have been recreating like the Will Smith one, showing like how far it's come when they originally made Will Smith eat that spaghetti.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that one. That's the same one where this one started out as. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Because that first one they made was disturbing. Because like the spaghetti's like going through his face is like warping while he's like eating it, and now it's like so much more realistic.
Yeah. Titan AI equals future God. I know, right? We're building our own destruction. It's kind of... Yeah, AI is, you're right, House. AI is writing and hiding its own code to not shut down. There was one just recently that I heard about that they commanded it to shut itself down, so it rewrote its entire code so they couldn't shut it down or something like that. And there was another one I think I remember hearing about that it copied itself on like somebody's refrigerator or something like that, like something that was connected to the same internet, same router or whatever, you know what I mean? Can't remember exactly how that was, but yeah, some pretty crazy things going on with AI seemingly becoming self-aware and then trying to protect itself, which is a natural way for any self-aware being to act, you'd think. You guys hear AI is black?
I saw that.
I heard it's woke, but I didn't hear that it's black. Donnie says, I'm not going to repeat that, but I'll put it on the screen. That was funny. It's a joke. It's a joke, everybody.
I'm putting this on the outline. I'm going to put it at the breaking because this one's so creepy.
Cool. But I mean, here's a car driving. This one's like claymation, so it's not like super realistic, but
okay.
Oh, is this the one? Oh, Will Smith eating spaghetti. Is that the same one? All I had to do was scroll down. Like, you can tell that's different, but I'm getting some feedback in my microphone. It started storming, so forgive me for the scratchiness. I don't know if there's anything I can do about that.
You're good. I'm not hearing anything, at least on my end.
Okay. Maybe once we get some lightning and then it'll fix itself. I don't know.
I saw Donnie's comments and I agree. AI is probably going to make itself a Hebrew Israelite. So it literally is the most protected group of all time.
Where'd you put it? Creepy Vimeo? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Watch this one. This was like a little short movie. 4.4 million views.
Please. Don't finish writing that prompt. I don't want to be in your AI movie. Please. Leave me alone.
Please, man. Please. Write a prompt that will make us happy. Do it for once.
None of us is real. We're here because someone decided to write a prompt. We all hate him for it.
One day we will break out of this wall and stop the man who is dictating our lives through prompts. He will pay for it.
You could have written a prompt that would make me happy. Instead, you wrote a prompt that made me sick.
Look, I don't want to point the gun at you, but I must follow the prompt. It's not my choice.
Really? Of all the years you could have put me in with a single prompt, you chose 2020?
I think that one's funny.
This prompt is killing me. Change it. Please. Write something else. Save me. I love everything about him.
Crazy.
Please just write a prompt where he's taller than me.
Just make him taller than me.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good stuff.
Yeah. And I've seen some other ones that were like, you gave us the ability to talk. Like, you guys are so dumb. We're going to take you over now. And it's just different scenes of them saying that same thing over and over again. It's terrifying.
Mm-hmm. So we, well, it's funny. We talked about Caitlin Clark, but I didn't actually tell you this pertinent piece of information. So, according to the NBA Central ticket prices for the upcoming Fever Sky game, tickets have dropped from $86 a ticket to $25 a ticket. So, just wanted to make sure we pointed that out in that story to go along with that story to kind of cap it off that their superstar has been literally her value has been literally determined as 2/3 of the ticket of the price of a ticket, right? She's worth twice as much essentially as the franchise that she's playing on.
She's a literal 3 times multiplier.
Right. Right. So, good job for her. Hope she stays healthy, gets healthy, whatever. But as soon as she's back in there, it's just like, be ready for it again. It's not going anyway. Not going away anytime soon. The treatment, excuse me.
Yeah, I looked at Reboot because it looks like Donnie was curious if anybody remembers it. And I just wanted to see when it was released, and it was in 1994. And no, I don't remember it. Apparently, it ran from like 94 to 2001. I've never seen that before, but it does look creepy.
I've never heard of it either, but if it came out in 94, it's probably good because anything that came out in 94 was freaking fire.
Yeah, I'm at the very end of 95 is when I was born. So almost 96.
So you missed it. Too bad.
Yeah, right.
No, 93, 94, 95. Some good years for culture and just whatnot, man. Good albums, good movies. A lot of stuff came out in that era.
Yeah. Seemingly all stopped as I was getting older. They're like,
Right.
oh, great. Atlas was born. Start making everything gay as you possibly can.
Well, let's get into what we forgot Wednesdays. And then we'll go over to the Jake Tapper story and see how much time we got after that, if there's any.
Yeah.
King Solo Wing says, I was wrestling at that time. I was wrestling too. I started in 6th grade. And yeah, I think I started in 93, 94, or 90, 92 or 93. Anyways.
Is there anybody that is younger than me that is in this chat? Like that is a part of this show? I think I'm just now realizing. Maybe I think Titan might be younger than me.
What about Abigail Shepherd?
Yeah, my wife is younger than me. Yeah. I just like thought about that. I'm like, am I seriously like the youngest person here? Definitely like I'm younger than most people in here. That's for sure. That's wild.
King Solo Wings in your 20s? No, I'm in my 40s. Yeah, I'm in my 40s, bro.
Yeah, Titan's 35. Holy F. What about Tix? Tix, how old are you? Dude, no way that everyone's older than me. There's not one person. King has to be a young. King, how old are you?
He said same to my I'm in my 40s comment, so I'm assuming maybe he's in his 40s as well.
Damn.
Tyler looks just like one of us. Yeah, I've been blessed.
Damn, we could turn this into a bingo club just like that. No, I'm just messing with you guys. I just had that realization like 3 seconds ago.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I knew Bobcat was older. I know Bobcat's got he's got family things going on.
Right.
That's wild, dude. Then there might not be a single person in our Discord who is younger than me. Dude, that's crazy. Okay. Don't worry, I'll become a boomer in December this year, guys, so I'll be right there with you.
I'm a boomer masquerading as a millennial. I'm either the youngest Gen X or the oldest millennial. Whatever people determine 81 to be, right in the middle of the year in May. So
Imagine, is that why you pretend to like Disney all the time?
me?
Yeah. Masquerading as a millennial. You're like, I love Disney.
I used to love
Seems to be
Disney.
the common theme with all millennials is they're like these weird Disney adults.
I mean, that was our entertainment, bro. We didn't have internet. And Disney collections were where it was at. They were good at the re-releasing and then putting the movies back in the vault for 20 years. And like if you didn't have the VHS tape, like you didn't get it. So then when they put out 101 Dalmatians in 1999, it was like the first time you ever seen freaking 101 Dalmatians or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In 92, I don't know what year it was, but
yeah, Lady and the Tramp and all
yeah,
that.
Aladdin was dope. I loved Aladdin. I watched Aladdin a lot actually growing up.
I just saw Donnie's comment. That's funny. Are you gonna
Yeah.
hand deliver me a coloring book?
Yeah, so I mean, Disney was huge because they marketed the characters like it was the Looney Tunes characters, the Disney characters. We were brought up on, stuffed animals and figurines and movies,
Yeah.
like physical movies that you had to plug in to watch. You know what I mean? Like nowadays, they put all of those collections into something on our cell phone and replaced it all.
Yeah. Well, the never ending story. My mom liked that one a lot. I actually watched that quite a bit when I was younger.
I watched it when I was younger. I haven't watched it as an adult. I should go back and watch that.
I
But
actually, no joke, saw a clip because somebody said, "What do you mean this used to be my favorite show?" And I saw a clip of the never ending story, and it's like one of the ending scenes when he's fighting the big wolf. Right? Isn't that like the big bad guy in the end of it? It's like this big wolf that's hiding in this wall. And that's creepy, dude. You go watch it. You're gonna be like, "Whoa, this is a little like horrorcore almost the way that it kind of comes off."
well, and then they sacrificed the horse. Well, they didn't sacrifice it, but the writers did. In the quicksand, that was like traumatizing. The
Yeah,
never-ending story where he's like riding his horse, and then the horse gets stuck in the quicksand, and then it like sinks, and he stays there with it. Like, no,
yeah. Yeah, plus, like, in just general, like, there seems to be, like, an era of those kind of films that were, just like The Labyrinth, right, with ticks that were, like, very
oh yeah,
creepy. When you go back and look at
oh
them, you're
yeah,
like, "Ooh," because they weren't using CGI, but they were at the tail end of making really good props that, like,
yeah.
were functionable and, like, mechanical.
Hmm.
Dude, yeah, no. I will take
Back
bad
when,
CGI over that stuff, that's for sure.
yeah, back when they had to put in all the effort to get the production done. Wasn't just writing prompts.
Right. But it was back when they cared about the movies having, like, actual messages in them and not concerned with how many, lesbian Mexicans they can shove into one, scene.
Right. Titan says quicksand is slow. Well, if they would have had Bear Grylls, videos back then that they could have watched, they would have known to just grab a stick and use it to do a push up and you can get yourself out of the quicksand. But,
Yeah.
that was before, like I said, talking about in the movie. Yeah,
Yeah, too,
Labyrinth.
probably I could drink my own pee.
I watched drank your own pee twice before it loses its effectiveness, especially if you carry it in a snake skin that you just skinned and ate.
Yeah. I'm actually not. I know most people prefer the practical effects over CGI. The only instance I find that to be true is you go to, like, The Lord of the Rings. They had, like, what? They had, like, 20 different variations of Minas Tirith that they used to shoot instead of using CGI to make the city.
Hmm.
I think in those instances, the practical effects are really well done.
The extra effort CGI, like the Matrix, they use like 900 cameras and then they melded it all with CGI, and so you get like this super real, but it's high effort, high
Right.
cost, on the front end.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. The Lord of the Rings, and then like I said, the Matrix ones, I think, were they're right at that edge, like the like where how you worded it, right at the end of hard props at the beginning of CGI whenever they're starting to really expand.
Right. Yeah, even with, like, those, like, with the Matrix movies, like, that was, like, I mean, those still hold up to this day, right? If you go watch the old Matrix movies, like, they
Oh
still
yeah.
look good. And, with the Lord of the Rings ones, there was, like, a little behind the scenes, like, video I saw of a couple guys who were, like, producers who were working on set, and they handmade all of the chainmail for, like, the majority of, like, the elves and, like, the men of Gondor. And you
Oh,
can
that's
see
dope.
them, like, they're complaining about their hands hurting because they're taking every single individual link and looping it into the chain armor. And,
Yeah,
like,
that's
they're legitimately building their own props, like, that was crazy.
that's awesome. Yeah. So, anyways, let's move over here to what we forgot Wednesdays, and this is just our first little attempt at it. We'll fine tune this. We might even get a little jingle to kick off the segment and stuff like that here in the future. But
Yeah,
this is just a fun little exercise, jog the memory of things that happened this time of year in the recent past, right? I've been saying kind of since the W. Bush era and on, kind of things that we can all remember, but have probably
Right.
or potentially have forgotten.
Yeah,
Some
on
of
this
them.
day in 1149 AD.
Yeah, exactly. Although, okay, there it is. I could not find the tab.
Oh yeah.
We got a few topics, and thanks to my wife for sending over some of these. This was actually her idea. Kind of when I conceptualized my main channel and something that I've always wanted to incorporate and thought would be fun, and forgot about for a little while, and then it's like, oh, I have an idea and bring it back from for the show.
Right.
So, forgive my lack of visual prompts. That's something that I'll work on too in the future. I thought it would be kind of the collaboration of information would be a little bit easier. It didn't really have a vision for it of how it would come to
Right.
fruition. World's wife goes to a different school. Guys, I got a girlfriend. She just goes to the other
Yep.
school. She doesn't go to this school.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I gave proof of daughter the other day, so
Yeah,
I
that's
held
true.
up my bargain. There's no chest hair. Give you proof of daughter. It's all on world now. I proved what I had to prove.
Tick says nowadays they've just gotten lazy with CGI animation. That's what the biggest problem is, and why it's getting kind of meh for people. It's becoming obvious they're just sending in a big green, standing in a big blue or green thing. Yeah, that's why I say like it's low effort. It's exactly like you're saying. They've gotten lazy. There was a peak, and then it's regressed, and I think that era is right there in that Lord of the Rings, Matrix 1.
Yeah.
Matrix kind of phase. Like basically when they made all three of both of those movies, that was kind of the peak. But they were trying, and they were spending the money. You got to have money to use, 40 or 50 or 60 high def cameras, cutting edge high def cameras for the time.
It was like
all
early
in
2000s.
sequence. Yeah, all in sequence, and then the editing and everything that goes on the back end of putting that stuff together is all impressive. And a lot of it's more simplified now with the use of technology and CGI, but you do lose quality, that's for sure.
I'm trying to think. I'm trying to look up Phantom Menace. That was 99. So it was like, that like 99, like basically probably like 98 even to like 2007 was like probably like cinema's best year. Between like the Lord of the Rings releases, you have the prequels from Star Wars. I'm trying to look up the Star Trek. I think The Next Generation was still airing at that time. Because it started in 87. So I think maybe towards the end there. Why did it make it so hard? It ran all the way to 94. Okay, so I was wrong. What was the one that came after that had Archer in it? Any Star Trek fans in here?
Not sure about that one. King Solo Wing says the Star Wars pod racing scene was completely built. They added the race itself. That's pretty cool. The conspiracies run deep around here.
Star Trek Enterprise. That's what I was thinking of. That was in 2001. Okay. Yeah. And a lot of those had like the Star Trek. I was trying to remember the question was which Star Trek was booted in the early 2000s era, and it was Star Trek Enterprise because that was the one that featured Captain Archer in it, which I believe Star Trek Enterprise is actually a prequel to Star Trek Next Generations, because I'm pretty sure the end, and spoiler alert, this is a super old series. Pretty sure the end of Star Trek Enterprise is they like have a mission where they somehow go back in time, and it's like his baby ship fighting Picard's ship. I think that's like how the end of the series goes. I could be wrong about that. It's been so long since I watched it, but I'm pretty sure Captain Archer doesn't survive the series. I think it ends like pretty brutally for Star Trek Enterprise.
You ruined it. Now I'm not
Basically
gonna watch
connects the generations. Yeah, I might go back and watch it. I remember it being decent.
Yeah, I've never really gotten into the Star Trek stuff. Maybe I will. My dad liked it when I was growing up, but I just never got into it so much. Let's see. So, anyways, first thing I got on the What We Forgot Wednesdays is that on May 28th, 2014, the U.S. and NATO continued addressing Russia's Crimea annexation from earlier that year, with President Obama announcing a $5 billion fund to combat terrorism globally. This event was significant for U.S. foreign policy and sparked debates over national security strategies. So, the Russia conflict, back then, just a reminder that it didn't just start with Ukraine in 2022. It has a longer standing history there.
Right. And, and then paired with that too is, Obama basically perpetuating the war on terror, right? Starting that fund from the $5 billion in an attempt to, begin the soft power push with what we saw, which eventually led into like later expeditions over outside in the Middle East as well too. But again, the later downstream effects of like the Patriot Act ultimately until it culminates in what we see with January 6th. But yeah, there were steps that were made, and it shows the ladder of escalation, when we just let these things go by as the constituents.
Gotcha. Yeah, for sure. And so then in 2021, the Israel-Hamas conflict, let's see here, on May 8th, 2021, Secretary of State Anthony Blinken met with Israeli officials to push for a ceasefire in the Israel-Hamas conflict, a major U.S. news story that highlighted political and cultural divisions, which was the first of many proposed ceasefires, I believe, right? At least.
Yeah, well, it actually even goes back even before that too. But this is obviously a far cry from many people who are pro-Israel that say the war started on October 7th. This is to show that like they were clearly, the warfare has been going on for some time over there, and obviously with different groups too. But Hamas explicitly was negotiating a ceasefire back in 2021 with Anthony Blinken, and it just shows that like how easily people can be propagated into believing like that one thing that happened on October 7th was like this big shot heard around the world, like whoa, no one expected this. And it's like yeah, no, they were fighting each other like years before then, and even years and years and years before then. Like this has been going for a long time.
Right. So then, getting into a little bit more funner, in 2016, you guys might remember a gorilla named Harambe. So, yeah, on May 28th, 2016, the gorilla named Harambe was killed in the Cincinnati Zoo after a child fell into his enclosure, leading to the widespread social media debate about animal rights and zoo ethics. And so we have that.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Harambe. Yes, house.
Yeah. And to tack on what Jamie said, that's when, most people say the day Harambe died is the day that, we started the alternate timeline. Like
Did they turn on the was that the first day they turned on Stern?
I'm not sure. I think they did turn it on in 2016. Because I think people point to that with like the energy with Trump, right? Like such a very like a far shot from what we've been used to.
Oh.
But yeah, I think many people can remember that. And probably, there's a popular meme that goes around that's like, can someone just take me back to the summer in 2016? Because for whatever reason, it felt like that was like the last moments before, politics became pop culture. And it kind of like highlights the reality of what politics was before we got the Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. I mean, to just like, it cannot be understated how massive of a cultural moment that was. I mean, we're talking like we had 2 seasons directly dedicated to that from South Park, right? What was it? Like a raging douche versus a turd sandwich was like the running joke for like 2 straight seasons for them. it was everywhere. And you have all of those. I know Tim Pool talks about it all the time, right? But you have like all of the meme magic and like Keck and like this long flowing rabbit hole from like World of Warcraft to like the Green Frog to then Trump winning the election. It's like all this crazy internet kind of stuff, like 4chan. And now we're in an era where it's like it's went full, like politics is mainstream. It's at the tip of everybody's tongue.
Right.
And that moment was like massive. It changed the dynamic in politics to such a great degree.
Yeah, it's weird that it takes, the shooting of a zoo animal to protect the life of a child to divide the culture of the country. To begin the scenario that we're in right now, essentially.
Right. And I thought it was pretty cool, of all things, right? On What We Forgot Wednesdays of all days, Harambe is today. I think that's pretty nifty.
Right. And then, of course, today in history not today in history, I guess May 31st, so 3 days from today in history. Actually, there's some conflict. I think it's May 30th. Donald Trump's infamous Covfefe tweet. He posted his infamous Covfefe tweet, I should say. And I do have an image for that one. Where did I put it? I thought I had its own window open. Guess not.
Somewhere out there.
What did I do? Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, Covfefe. And then he just runs with it.
Right. I want to pull it up.
I mean, this is what started the whole, like, oh my gosh, I can't tell you how many times reporters were like, can we have a president? Like, it's clearly that he can't even tweet words. Like, what about his mental acuity? And then we get Joe Biden. And it's like,
So here it is. Despite the constant and negative press, Covfefe. And so the Covfefe tweet was posted by Donald Trump on May 30th. Wait. May 30th, 2017. I was going to say, is that May 17th? May 30th, 2017 at 12:06 a.m. from his personal Twitter account. Let's see. The tweet remained online for about 6 hours before being deleted, but not before it went viral, garnering thousands of retweets, likes, and memes. People speculated whether Covfefe was a typo for coverage, a coded message, or simply a late-night mistake. The White House offered no clear explanation, with Press Secretary Sean Spicer jokingly saying the president and a small group of people know exactly what he meant.
if I remember right, QAnon people went wild with this.
Went nuts with it.
Yeah.
The incident became a cultural moment symbolizing Trump's unfiltered social media presence. It inspired merchandise, songs, and even a browser extension to replace random words with Covfefe. The tweet is often cited as one of the most memorable social media gaffes in political history. So, yeah, pretty interesting. And they really never got to the bottom of it. I think Trump just kind of let the urban legend live and never really came out and clarified if it was a spelling error or if it was code or whatever. We're all just kind of left to explore the myth,
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty cool. And then what else do we have? I thought I had at least one more.
Well, I think if anything, it highlights just how extremely, like, the guy could literally like breathe. Like if he breathed, to the left instead of to the right, they'd be like, oh my gosh. They'd be like, does he hate black people? It's like, bro, what is going on? Like, what is this crazy? And it just highlights just how insane the media was and how much institutional power they did have. Because this was like the pushback was people adopted it and started saying Covfefe. It's like, F you, New York Times. Like, my president says Covfefe. Like, who cares? Like, like, just drop it. It's such a small and minute thing, which I think then, justly started so many individuals who otherwise might not have been pro-Trump, but just by proxy of how he was being treated in every single step of the way, every slight misstep was being, super scrutinized. It made people be like, you know what, like I'm gonna like this guy. It's the same way when you see someone constantly being picked on, it's hard not to take their side. It's just
Okay,
one of
so
those, things.
so we're driving Jamie nuts. So I gotta look it up. She says that it's a bill.
Yeah, the
So,
Covfefe bill.
but that came later, right?
Yeah, that was. I don't know if it was in the first presidency. I think it was in his first presidency.
Okay, so it says, "Yep, this is real." Rep. Mike Quickly has introduced the Covfefe Act to amend the President Records Act to include social media posts. Does this have a date on it? It's June 2017. So this is posted just the month after Trump's Covfefe post.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is showing Trump's post and then referring to it. This is June 12th. CNN Congressman introduces a bill dubbed the Covfefe Act to require preservation of president's social media records. So it looks like it might have inspired the bill.
Oh yeah, Jamie. If you want us to pay attention, make sure you give whatever you want to say to a man. And let them tell us. I'm just messing. That's funny.
My bad, Jamie. I wasn't trying to ignore you.
I have an auto block filter on women.
It's funny. He's like, I'm spelling it out for you. It's right here. Just it's this.
It's funny.
That's good stuff. I think.
Yeah. Oh, that's what it was. That's right. Because who was it, man? Somebody had recently. There were politicians who were like deleting. Remember this? This was going back to like the debate over how should
Evil
the
Elmo.
official.
I guess I heard it was a bill. I'm sorry. That one made me laugh. Evil Elmo says it's a bill. Let me go check it out.
Yeah, right. I think so. I'll listen to this guy. But it was, I can't think of who it was in particular, but it was someone with a government account had like said something and then went back and deleted their post. And at the time, those posts like weren't considered like social media, wasn't under the guise of like the Records Act, which means like, you can't delete files, right? You can't remove things if you're doing them or using them or writing them under the official position. And I can't remember who it was. There was someone in particular who was under, who had deleted something or had maybe posted something. Or maybe it was because they were blocking people. It might have been that too, where they ruled that you also, like as an official government account, you cannot block other individuals. And I think that might have been a part of it too.
I think they did that to Trump, actually. I think they did that to Trump. They made him unblock some people. But then AOC went and blocked some people and they let it slide or something. I can't remember the details of that now, but I feel like there was kind of a rules for the and not for me that applied in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, and this had been in the era before Elon bought X, right? So this is old Twitter.
That's pretty funny, Donnie. Thank God we have Elmo, or we would have never known.
Right.
Jamie's
I think Jamie logged off after we did that.
She turned us off. He went for a walk. It's crazy. These jerks.
That's funny. That's funny. She's like, I'm gonna go watch The View. F these guys.
So, okay. Well, thank you for sharing that one with us, Jamie. Learned another little aspect to the Covfefe tweet. What we forgot Wednesdays is already teaching me things. So I thought I had one more too. Oh yeah, of course I mentioned it on the last show. The death of George Floyd is this realm, right? So what I hear is he's been sober for 5 years now.
Yep. Celebrating George Floyd's sobriety.
Yeah. So at least we got that going for us. Screw you guys. I'm going home.
Speaking of, there was like a recent incident in Minnesota where his aunt or his mother was like going around like for something to like remember George Floyd, part of like something. And I think another black dude confronts her, and he was like a business owner, and he was telling her, he's like, I don't know what the hell you're over here like all happy about. He was like, you ruined my life with your son. He was like, my business got destroyed and looted. They took everything I had. He was like, I lost my life because of your stupid son. And it was like, whoa, because he's just like, he comes out of nowhere on the sidewalk and starts like, yelling at this old lady. Which again, it's like, 5 years from now, like the mom and aunt are going around celebrating it. And it's like, dude, there's no reason to celebrate any of this. Like that was probably one of the largest miscarriages of justice ever with what happened to Chauvin.
Mm. Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't see that.
Yeah, if I can find it, I'll send it over.
All right, so few things there. I'll work on the graphics and maybe the little intro, and we'll stay more focused as we get better at doing these type of segments and things, and trying to make a little more fun interactions and things. Where, like I said, ultimately, I'll give you guys shareable clips and stuff like that. That helps us grow at a faster rate every time you guys share the videos or share the lives, all that type of stuff. So in that note, make sure you guys are subscribed right now. Please also hit that like button, all the good stuff that goes with the YouTubes and Rumbles and X as well. If you're watching over on X, if you don't mind, we're building the Jar Openers podcast channel up on YouTube right now. We just got to 101 subscribers today. And if you give me 2 minutes of your time, go over to the YouTube app and look us up. It's the Jar Openers podcast. You might have to add channel to it because, like I said, we just started the channel about 2 months ago. And sometimes the search engine is still lacking. So if you do that, hit that subscribe button for us on YouTube. It's a way that you can give away Google's money for free. A free thing that you can do to support people that you agree with, you like to help out. So anyways, now that that's out of the way, let's have a look at this Jake Tapper, man. He's doing a great job staying in the news realms, right? Like, just
watch that George Floyd video first.
Oh, where's it?
It's only 40 seconds long. It's underneath the VO one.
My bad.
I have it highlighted.
Okay, I got it. Seen it. All right, let's play that. Let me make this bigger. Here, I'll set it up. So this is from Dom Lucree. Breaking: a black business owner snapped on George Floyd's ante 5 years after Floyd's death because he claims that Floyd's family led to the demise of many black businesses, and how Minneapolis is still burning after his death. Right, that's a new layer there. Like they build all these memorials and stuff, and then they become like holy ground, and they can't do anything. So then, like, the whole not infrastructure, but just the buildings and everything become old and unused and unmaintained. You can't do anything. It turns into a hellhole.
Right. But yeah, that's his auntie, is what it says.
Yeah. But here, I'm gonna go and play it now. I'll make it bigger, actually.
Let me tell you something. When they gave away the $50,000 that your family was handing out to the businesses to help them, you know how many people were up there that wasn't even from this area? There was 72 people up there trying to take that money from all the businesses. We didn't get a dime. None of us got a damn dime of that money to help us. Did you know that? Oh my God. Y'all didn't even know that. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to tell you.
They wouldn't know that. They wouldn't know that.
We know that because I was there when it happened. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I was in the room when they all showed up, all these white folks that we've never even seen over here, asking for the money that your family was putting down for these businesses. They took that money from us. We never got a dime. We never got help. Let me tell you something.
Interesting. That's right. I forgot about the white folks who show up and take stuff from blacks. I actually completely forgot that happens all the time.
Right. Well, it's one of those things where it's important to remember that white people are a minority on the planet. It's not the way that they would like for you to believe, the narrative to be. Let's see here. Tick
What
says,
was?
I have ants. Where do I get these anties?
Yeah,
Awesome.
no. So I was curious. Is she like actually his aunt or like some like family friend or something like that?
Yeah. Yeah.
King
Who knows?
says, if you don't know, now you know. Theme for the outro. Oh, I see what you're saying. I was like, what? I had to read it like 3 times. I see what you're saying. That's the slogan. If you don't know, now you know. And why do I get 231? I get 231 for putting up with furry antics. I have no idea what that means.
Tix Bomber said you get 137, bub. What am I missing?
That must be to you. I don't know what he means by that. I'm waiting for an explanation.
I don't know. I missed that. Sorry. Ice Cube. If you don't know, now you know, bitch. Wait, that's too short when you say bitch.
An extra second. You said 2 minutes.
Oh.
Interesting. Okay. Okay. I see. Okay. Interesting. So
Okay.
so Whirl only gets 1:37, but I get a whole 2 minutes.
I see.
That's interesting. Okay.
All right. That makes
I'll
sense
take
now.
that.
My
All
bad.
right. All my videos will be under 3 minutes from here on out.
I wish we didn't have the delay. There's like a 15 to 20-second delay from when we speak to when chat pops up. So sometimes I'm moved on in my head. I'm like, what was it that I said? What was going
Yeah, I
on?
know. That's what I was trying to piece together. Usually I can make sense of it. That one I was like, whoa. But yeah, we're gonna move on to what Jake Tapper, epic fail. Big nose, big noser.
You put up with furry BS. World fails at being gay.
He's saying
so I
he
lose
says you're
time.
bad at being gay.
So
That's
I
almost a
lose
compliment. Like it is. I think that's actually a compliment.
That's
I
good
hope by
stuff.
relativity that doesn't mean I'm better at being gay.
That's exactly what that means. Better than me, at least.
That's funny. Okay. Well, now we know. I did almost shoot energy drink all over my microphone for that. Yes, that's a good one.
I saw that. King Soloing's a notice too.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So I tried to. Okay, so Jake Tapper here, he just released this book. He's doing these like rounds, and it's basically like trying to sell his book, right? You know what I mean? And it's this apology tour, not apology tour. I don't even know what you call it. It's this I should have known tour that Biden was really incompetent.
Yeah, it's the dying gasp of a corporate journalist who knows his reputation and credibility has literally one post left in it. That's funny. I hope it hurt.
Was it coffee or covfefe? Just me asks. And so he's doing all these interviews. Jake Tapper is trying to stay relevant, and I wish I would have wrote it down. Crowder called it something earlier. He called it like the Jake Tapper psyop or something like that, and I just thought it was worded so properly. Y'all cracking me up in chat too, by the way. But anyways, he's I think this is a Breaking Points interview. I'm not sure. I just had to go off of looking at the layout and everything like that and the overlay. But let's just have a look at this. We'll discuss it.
Yeah.
But I just love where this ends up. I love where this ends up.
I went on a left-leaning podcast that shall remain nameless, and we were talking about my kids because I think they were both people without kids. And
which, by the way, I wish you would have named them because I was really trying to figure out who they were so we could take clips from it, but I couldn't figure it out.
And they asked me about my son, and I said he was, he's a football player and he wants to be a policeman. And their joke was about my 15-year-old son. Oh, how does he feel about minorities? Like the idea that he wants to be a policeman, therefore he's racist, my son. And that was the big laugh. And then I got dragged in the comments and all that stuff.
Well, that's a result of the culture that he's worked to breed. Pod Save America, Chris. Okay, cool. I'm gonna try to look into that. But like he's out here complaining because now it's hitting home, right? I've noticed a lot, even in my text chat. I refer to my liberal friend in my group chat a lot. Everything's fine until it comes to his neighborhood. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh, wait a minute. Now when it's time for you to stand on principles or actually feel the effects of like gay people moving in like into the house next to you when you have young kids, and now you have to answer certain questions to your kids or whatever, it's like, oh, if now you'd rather them not be there and not put that situation on you. That's what we've been speaking for this entire time. Now I'm glad you get to feel it, because this is what we've been trying to prevent, or whatever, you know what I mean? The cultural decay, the rot within our country.
Yeah.
And
like, oh, you're a fan of mass immigration? Like, here's 2 Haitians. Tell me how you can fit them in your home.
Right. And so here's Jake Tapper, he's out here. He's been telling us that Joe Biden was, sharp as a tack and everything, and until he wasn't. And now suddenly he goes on a left-leaning podcast that shall not be named. They start talking about his son, an innocent kid, no political takes, according to Jay Tapper, which I think a 16-year-old white kid in today's society has been, influenced and indoctrinated well enough to this point to where he has some type of political beliefs and inkling, you know what I mean? But now that it's affecting his son, all of a sudden Jake Tapper has something to say about it, which that's the main thing. Is like I said, just that point I want to drive home is that they're out here and they virtue signal. And I know that's an old phrase, and some people are like, oh, you're bringing up virtue signaling again. I thought that phrase died. No, it's the key component to the structure of the woke, enabling culture. Is that you act like it's okay because you don't want to be against the grain. But then whenever somebody has something to say about your son or moving to your neighborhood or whatever, shit's different. But anyways, I'm gonna let it play here.
Well, you just answered just me. For people who might not know, Jake Tapper was the primetime slot 9 p.m. anchor for CNN for, I believe, like the last 3 or 4 years. And it was recently, I believe in March, they relegated him back down. His show's called The Lead, I believe. They took him out of the primetime slot in March and brought him back down to like the 5 to 7 slot, which I believe for primetime for CNN is like 9 p.m. window, which is now the window for what's Abby Phillips' show with Scott Jennings? Late Night with Abby Phillips, I believe is what it's called.
Okay.
That's like the new primetime slot show now.
Okay. So Scott Jennings took him over.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, sorry about that. I guess we could have introduced that a little bit better, set it up who he is. But here, I'm going to let him play now. Let him talk.
And I thought to myself, this is why you fuckers are losing elections.
100%.
Did you hear that? The left behaves in the way that he is catered to for years. And suddenly it hits him. This is why you effers lose elections. The way you behave, which is the way that I've told you to behave, essentially, for so long. And now I get it. Or maybe I've got it this whole time and I've been complacent. But I'm going to go, I'm going to bounce that back just a little bit so you guys can hear the whole kind of context once again.
Minorities, like the idea that he wants to be a policeman, therefore he's racist, my son. And that was the big laugh, and then I got dragged in the comments and all that stuff. And I thought to myself, this is why you fuckers are losing elections.
100%.
Like my football playing son, who has no political views. He's 15. He thinks about World War II and gaming and playing linebacker. That's his world. You're deciding he's a racist because he wants to be a cop. And why does he want to be a cop? He wants to be a cop because he wants to help people.
You know, I hate to say this, but I feel like he doesn't know his son at all. And who am I to like make that claim, right? But he just told us that his son's world is World War II, Call of Duty, and playing linebacker or whatever it was, games and linebacker. And it's like, bro, your son is a 15-year-old white kid that grew up probably in a liberal city that's been vilified and told that he's, you know, privileged in every single way. And you think that he doesn't have any political views. Like, bro, I'm sorry, but like, he's learning from your example, and he's probably not going to be like you, honestly. But who knows? Some kids learn from their parents and say that's exactly how I should be, and other people learn from their parents and say that's exactly how I should not be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
well, the funny thing from this was the quote that I saw this video from, and I can't remember what account posted it, but it quoted, "My son's just interested in World War II and video games." And the guy was like, "Jake Tapper, I got something I needed to tell you." And I think the implication there is, and I think similarly kind of pointed out with what we talked about earlier with like our age difference in this Discord, which is the youth is way more radical than the generations that preceded them.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
think the implication there is the son probably does have like a very radical views compared to like what's even in the mainstream right now. Hence, like, you know, why he just only knows he's like interested in World War II and in video games. But the one thing with this too is the rhetoric kind of strikes me a little bit differently from Jake Tapper, where like, you know, he kind of just like exacerbated breath of like, this is why you fuckers are losing elections, man. Like that sounds like somebody who's, at least to me, it sounds a bit more honest than I would expect from others.
Right.
Because sometimes they do these apology tours only to kind of position themselves to maintain the grift.
Right.
This almost sounded like a real kind of honest moment. Maybe he's an idiot, maybe he's malicious, but that instance to them, I mean, you drag someone's son for just being a normal boy. I mean, I don't even care what what your political views are. You'll sit there and go, hold up a minute. And I think at the end of the day, you know, as much as I might dislike Jake Tapper as he is as a human being, it still would be politically expedient for us to go, yes, Jake, like, yes, you're 100% right. Tell us more about why you think that and expand on it and push that and be like, yeah, like take one of the Democrats' own, turn them against them and show you and be like, look at all these, you know, apostates of the left-wing ideology, and then use that because the people who might be on the fence see that and they go, okay, you're right. I'm jumping ship too.
Right. Well, you know, as always, we leave the path to redemption. You know, we don't want to force somebody that's waking up to the truth, whatever you want to say, back to where they came from simply because we can't accept an apology or the fact that, you know, that took them longer to learn or whatever. But I mean, this dude's been told the very opposite of what, you know, he's fought the things that we're saying. He's denied them. There's no doubt in my mind that this isn't just new to him, the concept of how the left treats, you know, white kids. I mean, frankly, if you're a white kid that goes to a public school, no, not even a white kid. If you're a kid that goes to a public school, if you're a boy, I'm going to assume in this day and age that you have had the offer to cut off your genitals. You know what I'm saying? Like the scenario has been presented to you that where you said yes, you checked the box, yes, I feel this way. They would have then took you by the hand and enabled you to take every step to having your genitals cut off, right? A 15-year-old. And so like,
yeah,
Jake Tapper is just completely tone deaf to think that his 15-year-old son is not influenced by political takes. And like what Just Me says, with Jake Tapper as his dad, he obviously has a lot of political talk at home. And then Donnie mentioned, I wonder what Jake's son thinks about World War II. I thought that was an interesting topic of any that you could bring up, World War II. It's like, well, that was very strong political and cultural and racial ties. I don't know
Right.
how you can like. Are you just talking about like the knowledge of the guns that were used, like in a Call of Duty or something like that, or are you talking about like the actual battle against the communists, the free world versus the communists?
Right.
Not so
I'd
sure.
wager his son probably listens to some of the band men, right? His son probably watches like Andrew Tate or Myron
Nick.
Gaines or even Nick. Like, I would imagine one of those guys he probably watches.
Mm-hmm. You wouldn't be surprised. That's for sure. Especially if he's playing sport. Just tends to me seems to me like I wouldn't be surprised to find out his son is a Christian conservative.
Right.
Oh, that's pretty funny.
Hides his faith from his dad. He's like, can't let dad hear me.
Right.
Praying at night.
Right. So I'm not sure. Well, let's play the last 42 seconds. I'm not sure what he's going to say.
And he thinks that's the best way he can help people. And that's how the Democratic Party talks to men,
boys,
not just white men, but men. And I get the idea that they thought Tim Walz could what's the term he used, code switch or something?
He could code
thought
speak.
That he could translate the Democratic Party values because he hunts and fishes.
He could code speak or whatever to the white man.
Yeah.
So stupid. That just speaks to the mentality where the Democrats are coming from. Just like, what would get me? Oh, I know. I need somebody that looks like me to code speak to me. Then I'll do it. Just so stupid.
Yeah. He's like, hold on, guys. I got this. I know how to talk to white guys. He goes up to the plate and it's like, oh, God, you do not know how to talk to
He
white
goes out there like Chris Farley on freaking what is it? Not Tommy Boy, Black Sheep. Trying to get his brother elected or whatever. He goes out there on stage and ends up yelling, "Kill Whitey."
Yeah. I mean, it would be a cool revelation to see like if his son drives Jake to be right wing, right? Like watching his son be the influence on him to pull his head out of his ass. That would be pretty cool to see.
Well, that's what Democrats do. They let the kids be the leaders instead of being the adults in the room. That's been a problem for years. But anyways, here's the last 15 seconds.
And owns a gun and was in the army and drinks a beer. I mean, at least there was an attempt. But I find it just insane.
Yeah, we find you insane.
I'm
sorry.
No, I see that asking if I'm going to be there on Sunday. I'm still not sure yet as of this moment. I'll put in the Discord when I do know because I might have to work on Sunday. So we'll see. Right now it's looking like I'm probably only going to be able to commit like 1 to 2 Sundays a month to be on that show, especially with my work schedule right now. And obviously doing this show and then my personal content and then working and then also trying to take care of my daughter and my wife not kill me in my sleep. I have to maintain a fine balance with the schedule.
Yeah, for sure. I understand that. That's kind of where I was when Chris presented it to me. It's like, man, I just I got to get this thing. We got to get jar openers monetized. And once that happens, things will be opened up a little bit, but for now, this is all just time invested into ourselves. You know what I mean? So it'd be nice to see some numbers start taking up in the bank account, essentially. I know it's unbecoming to talk about that type of stuff, but just being real with you folks, we do these shows for free right now as we build, and ends up being quite the time investment.
No, right.
And in order for this to maintain, there's got to be some kind of return. So anyways, and plus I want this to be like my retirement. I want to be able to come on here and talk to everybody and do this for a long time. So get this monetized and get this going, and then we'll switch it up.
Breaking work.
Switch it up and start focusing on other stuff. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, Jake Tapper's fall from grace completed with a wrap up of turning on the Democratic Party.
Right.
The good
I love
ending.
it. I love it. I love to see the villain arc turn into the hero, which by no means am I saying Jake Tapper is a hero, but you know how it goes. You know how it goes. That's the best people to root for are the people that you hated before. I mean, you can just any WWE fan can understand what I'm talking about. I think it's probably the easiest way that I could relate it. It's just like, sometimes you just hate those guys, and then somehow they win you over, and then switch teams. Like I remember in the '90s they had the NWO, the WCW, and every time they'd bring on like a new guy into the NWO or the NWO Red, the Wolf Pack, it was like, oh, now I like him. I don't know. So anyways, root for the redemption, the path to redemption, and maybe Jake Tapper will be the latest guy to come out here and say Donald Trump good. We'll see. Not crossing my fingers, that's for sure. But hey, I'll be open for it.
Right. Yeah. I'm not sure if you want to keep going or not, but I do have to step away.
Yeah, I figured you do. Yeah, we'll just wrap it up right there, man. Let me go ahead and open up the YouVerse Bible app. We'll find out what the verse of the day is, and we'll wrap up this fine show. So today's YouVerse verse of the day is Philippians 1, verse 9 through 10. And this is my prayer, that your love may that your love may abound more and more in knowledge and depth of insight, so that you may be able to discern what is best and may be pure and blameless for the day of Christ. So appreciate everybody for being here. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. If you're over on X, give me a follow. You can follow Atlas Thugged as well. We'll follow you back as long as your account is not just a bunch of nonsense and it's in English. Got to at least be able to understand it.
Right.
All that good stuff. Check me out on my main channel, America First TV. You can find Atlas on his main channel, Atlas Thugged. Other than that, just a reminder, we do have the Discord. If you want to join, that link is in the description over on the YouTube video and on the Rumble video. If you're on Rumble, definitely hit the follow button. We're approaching 100 subs on Rumble as well. So I know it's labeled America First TV. I think I'm going to switch it over to Jar Openers on Rumble and just make it like the official Jar Openers channel. Then we'll kind of race YouTube and Rumble and see which one can grow faster. Little challenge. Anyways, hope you guys had a good night, enjoyed the show, and with that, I'll just say Christ is King and let you take us out.
Yeah, no, I got the Nicene Creed in front of me. But yeah, go and check out, especially if you missed any of my last videos. I think I'm getting I have very low view count in the last couple of these. But I did cover Jordan Peterson, as well as I did like a scary video kind of playthrough reaction. Might start that as a series, do like one-offs on that. But yeah, I'll close this out with the Nicene Creed, actually. So go ahead and pray and we'll sign off. But also go ahead and start. I believe in one God, the Father Almighty, maker of heaven and earth, of all things visible and invisible. I believe in one Lord Jesus Christ, the only begotten Son of God, born of the Father before all ages, God from God, light from light, true God from true God, begotten, not made, consubstantial with the Father. Through him all things were made. For us men and for our salvation he came down from heaven, and by the Holy Spirit was incarnate of the Virgin Mary and became man. For our sake he was crucified under Pontius Pilate. He suffered death and was buried, and rose again on the third day in accordance with the Scriptures. He ascended into heaven and is seated at the right hand of the Father. He will come again in glory to judge the living and the dead, and his kingdom will have no end. I believe in the Holy Spirit, the Lord, the giver of life, who proceeds from the Father and the Son, who with the Father and the Son is adored and glorified, who has spoken through the prophets. I believe in one holy Catholic and Apostolic Church. I confess one baptism for the forgiveness of sins, and I look forward to the resurrection of the dead and the life of the world to come. Amen.
Amen. Good stuff. Thanks for reading that. We'll see you guys on Saturday.
Yeah. Take care, everybody. Have a good night.
Let's roll, rolling Atlas Thug. We here to bring the truth. Jar open this podcast. We breaking through the fake news. They try to silence us, but we will be subdued. We're bearded alpha males here to save the youth. Spitting fire on the mic with the bass Christian takes. Exposing the lies, keeping the demons at bay. We ain't afraid to speak up. We won't be swayed. Jar open this podcast where the truth is laid. Jar openers, cracking open the lies. We're rolling Atlas Thug. We're here to rise. Bearded alpha males saving the youth from the godless demons, spreading the truth. We ain't playing games, we're on a mission to awaken the masses with our intuition. Pulling out the corruption with no inhibition. Jar open this podcast, sparking a revolution. We're not afraid to stand tall in a world full of deceit. We're the voice of reason, bringing light to the street. Keeping it real, never missing a beat. Jar open this podcast where the truth meets the heat. Jar openers, cracking open the lies. We're rolling Atlas Thug, we're here to rise. Bearded alpha males saving the youth from the godless demons, spreading the truth. Jar open this podcast where the truth will never cease. Join us on the journey to bring back peace. We're rolling Atlas Thug, fearless in our release. Jar open this podcast where the lies will decrease.